If your arms aren't growing, you're not alone. I spent the first 5 years of my training journey not being able to grow my arms. I would smash bicep curls, tricep push downs, chasing the pump every week, but I was getting nothing in return for it. It wasn't until I realized these 5 mistakes that I'm covering in today's video were holding me back, and I'll never make the same mistakes again. I'm Charlie. I've been training over a decade naturally, and I've managed to grow 18-inch arms. I've coached over 500 lads through the exact same plateaus that you're stuck at right now. And when I tell you what is holding you back and the mistakes you're making, it's because I've made them all myself and I've made them tenfold over. If you apply the stuff that I cover in the next 6 minutes, you'll make more progress in the next 12 months than you have in the last couple of years. Mistake number 1, and it is training your arms at the end of a session. Treating your arms like the side bitch. You prioritize chest, shoulders, back. You always put them first. You do them when you're fresh, when you're walking into a session. Your motivation high, and you're very focused on those muscle groups. Let's face it, when you get to the end of that session and you're already pretty fucked from the session you've just had, arms are just being bolted on. Okay, you're giving it leftover energy, you've lost your concentration, and then you're sitting there wondering why your arms just won't grow. If your arms are always coming at the end of your sessions, don't be surprised when they do not grow like all of the other muscles you're prioritizing with a lot more intent. Mistake number 2, and it's not putting enough volume into your arm training itself. When it comes at the end of the session, you're probably just chucking 3 sets of one exercise on there. If your arms aren't growing, it's more than likely this just isn't enough volume for them to grow. If you look at what we know makes muscles grow, it's anywhere from 10 to 20 working sets per week. The harder you train, the higher intensity you train with, the lower this number is going to be. But if your arms aren't growing, the proof is in the pudding. As well as moving when you train your arms around from being at the end of the session, you can move it actually at the start of your session if you're really trying to prioritize your arms in your next training block. What I also done myself, I actually implemented a dedicated arm day where I'd literally just go in the gym and just train arms. That meant I was starting that session nice and fresh. My concentration was really high and I was able to execute with a lot of intensity throughout the session without it dropping off, because I hadn't done big movements before, like bent over rows, chest presses, things that are going to drain not just your mental battery but also drain your CNS. If you want the exact arm day that I put together to help grow my arms to 18 inches naturally, I've put a link in the description below where you can grab it for free. Run that 1 to 2 times per week and watch your arms blow up. Mistake number 3, and it is not executing your reps properly. Okay, ego lifting, whatever you want to call it. I see guys in 2 sort of camps when they train arms. The guys that think they have to train super high volume, so they're doing 12, 15, 20 reps of their arms with absolutely no intensity and nowhere near failure. Or you get the guys picking up the heaviest fucking hammer curls, doing 5, 6 reps, absolute swinging reps, nearly putting their lower back out. You don't want to be in either one of these camps if you're trying to grow your arms. The key to growing your arms is picking a weight that you can actually use and control throughout the whole rep. More weight does not equal more gains if your bicep or your tricep is not taking that tension. The fix here is slowing down your tempo. A lot of guys will think about and have heard about the controlled eccentric part of the lift. So on a bicep curl, when you're in that lowering portion of a rep, you'll slow it down and you'll control it. But I want you to go away this week in your training and actually take a big focus on the concentric part of your reps, so the first part of the lift. The tempo I want you to use is 3 seconds on the way up, 1 second pause, and then 3 seconds on the way down. That is going to allow you to put so much more accurate stimulus into your biceps, and you're not going to have other muscle groups taken over and just using sheer momentum. The pump you'll get from this will be insane too. Yes, you're going to probably have to drop the weight, drop the ego, and let your arms grow. You're going to give yourself a much better runway to progress the movement by being more accurate with where you're putting that tension. None of your muscles actually know what weight you're lifting in the gym. All they understand, and the only language they communicate in, is mechanical tension, tempo, and accuracy, and then taking that set to failure. Apply that this week and you'll see massive changes straight away. Mistake number 4 in it is ignoring the tricep. For years I was just smashing any form of curl, hammer curls, bicep curls, anything I could get my hands on, but I was completely ignoring the tricep, and how stupid that is. The tricep actually makes up 2/3 of your arm. So why, if you're trying to grow bigger arms, would you ignore it? It makes no sense. Now with your tricep, there's actually 3 heads you want to be hitting, and to grow big arms, you want to be hitting it from all angles. You've got your long head, your lateral head, and your medial head. Most guys only hit their triceps with exercises that hit the shortened head, things like push downs, completely neglecting the long head, which is going to give you that big full look on your arms and that horseshoe tricep. The movements no one talk about when it comes to tricep training is overhead tricep work. This is where the long head is going to get involved, and this is where you're going to hit the tricep in the lengthened position, which we know is a massive contributing factor towards muscle hypertrophy. My 3 favorite movements to do this is incline bench, cable tricep extension with an EZ bar, dumbbell skull crushers set up on an incline bench, which is really going to stretch that tricep, and then a classic rope overhead tricep extension. And mistake number 5 is no progressive overload tracking when it comes to your arm training. Your arm is going to respond like any other muscle. Tension, progressive overload. That is what you need to build your arms. Make sure that you're tracking these sessions especially when you get to the end of a workout. It's so important because if you're tired, if you can't be asked, if you're just wanting to get out of the gym, you're probably just going to try and rush through it. You're going to rest a little bit less, and your arm movements aren't moving in accordance with the rest of your training program, where every other muscle group is still progressing, but your arms are just plateauing. But because you're walking out of the gym with a decent pump, it feels productive. It feels like you're doing something. But again, the proof is in the fucking pudding. If your arms aren't growing, no doubt this is one of the easiest changes you can make and will have one of the biggest effects on your progression. Obviously, arms are a much smaller muscle group than a lot of your other muscle groups like your chest and your back. So the progressions are going to be smaller. Don't expect to be putting 5-10 kilos on your lifts every week. It just isn't going to happen. The sort of progressions you can expect when you're trying to grow your arms is literally 1 rep every week. Aim for that. Then when you're moving up the weight, take the 1.25 plates, take the 2.5 kilo plates. It is the small continued progressions that compound over an extended period of time that will really make the difference. If you try and make weight jumps that are too big too quickly, you'll just end up ego lifting. You ignore all the stuff we've spoken about earlier in this video and you'll be stuck back at square one again. None of the stuff we've covered in this video is super complicated, and the guys with the big arms, they aren't doing anything magical that you might think they are. They prioritize their arms when they're fresh. They're putting real volume into it and they're tracking that. They're making sure they're logging all of their workouts and they're lifting with control and they're not letting their egos run the show. It's so easy to blame it on your genetics or something like that, and of course there is going to be an element where genetics come into play, but nowhere near as much as you might think if all of these areas aren't nailed. And until you're hitting all of these areas, you can't even blame it on genetics because you're not doing the things that would make it grow in the first place. Most guys will watch this because it feels productive and they won't go and implement this into their training, but the ones who do will go away and they'll start seeing the progress come in. So make that you. So if you found this video useful, drop this video a like. It really helps the channel out. Drop a comment below, let me know which mistakes you've been making. Remember, there's a free arm guide in the link below, so have a look at that and give that a go next week in the gym. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel for plenty more coaching content we've got coming to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.